Hi, welcome to We the People. My name is Angela Hayden. Good morning. Today's show will be about Limoges porcelain, and my guest name is Debbie Dubé. Debbie, welcome to We the People. How are you?
Angela. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Limoges porcelain. Tell us about Limoges porcelain, Debbie.
Well, Limoges is the name of a city in Limoges, France.
Okay.
It's the generic name for all the porcelain that was produced in one of the factories in the Limoges region of France. And there are over 400 different Limoges marks.
400?
400.
Woo!
And it's not as simple as the mark on the back saying Limoges or saying France.
Yes.
It can be initials, it can be embossing, it can be impressions. Most of us are familiar with the little Limoges boxes that Nancy Reagan made familiar when she and President Reagan were in the White House.
Yes.
So they're very, very cute. They're very, very lovely. Keep in mind that the figural boxes are newer, and there's tons of reproductions out there, and they're the cobalt blue ones. Today I have a sample of one that is newer. That's about 1955 to 1975, but it's really reasonable. It runs about $100. But this one is different from the Limoges box that has all the gold with all the enamel with all the raised paste. A little box like that runs about, like I said, 100 to 150. This antique Limoges box, which has all the marks on the back, runs about $400 to $500.
Okay.
But it's actually a little mini piece of art. Isn't that beautiful, Angela?
So essentially the newer boxes are
less expensive.
less expensive.
Yes.
Due to the fact, of course, that they're newer.
But very affordable and very charming.
Now, a person may use this for various reasons.
Yes, all this
Jewelry.
was produced by the King of France, specifically for Queen Victoria. Keep in mind that Limoges was produced during the Victorian era. So each piece had a specific functional use.
Okay.
Queen Victoria was very sentimental over her little children, and so she would take these boxes that the King of France gave her, and she would put a lock of her children's hair in one of the boxes, or one of her little children's baby's teeth. Exactly.
Oh.
So, and of course, everything that Queen Victoria did, the Americans wanted to emulate.
I see.
So the boxes became a huge, huge fad.
Now, the box, excuse me, the box that I have in my hand is of that time period. Again,
It's an antique
the same
box.
antique box, and it has. I'm looking at gold lame,
Raised gold enamel.
raised gold
paste.
enamel. Sorry, and inside the box also is painted some gold as well.
Just
and
a little fleur-de-lis.
A little
just
bit fleur-de-lis, and it's just
decoration.
a lovely piece. It would make a sensational gift. I really think it's gorgeous. I think these are beautiful. I'm honored to hold one.
Oh, thanks. And keep in mind that when you purchase an antique, specifically a piece of Limoges, you want to make sure that's in perfect condition. No chips, no
Right.
cracks, no damage.
Absolutely.
Now, although some of us may not be familiar with a few of the pieces here, we're familiar with Limoges boxes, and most of us are familiar with Theodore Haviland. If we have been lucky enough to inherit something, most of the time it's a piece of Theodore Haviland dinnerware. Keep in mind there's over 270,000 different patterns in the Theodore Haviland. These are also very, very reasonable. The sad truth of the matter is, if you've inherited a set of dinnerware like this, a complete set will go for less than $100. Basic principles of your MBA, supply and demand. There were over 18,000 barrels a month imported here to the United States of America from 1880s to 1911. So that, along with it's not dishwasher safe or microwavable, and that we really don't have the lifestyles today where we sit down and have a complete family dinner with 12 people. The Haviland dinnerware is at an all-time low. Still lovely, still affordable.
Yes.
Another piece that we may be, another piece that we may be familiar with is the white and gold, or the wedding band. This was specifically produced in the Limoges region of France and exported and imported here to the United States of America for presidential porcelain. A lot of us may have inherited something like this too. These are very reasonable. They run about $5 up to $25 for a larger plate, but lovely, lovely.
I think so. I think it really accents the dinner setting for your meals, and they're classic in design, of course, and gold always goes with everything. So I think it's a beautiful plate.
But the most fabulous Limoges dinnerware is the cobalt blue. If any of us have been lucky enough to inherit something like this, complete dinnerware sets with the cobalt blue run from $3,000 to $15,000.
That is
Really spectacular.
Spectacular. Yeah.
Now keep in mind, it has to have a Limoges factory mark on the back, has to be in complete, pristine condition, and it has to have a complete set, which would have been 12 dinner plates, 12 bread and butter plates, 12 salad plates, 12 bouillon cups, 12 underplates, 12 cups, 12 saucers, 3 different size platters, 3 different sizes of covered vegetable dishes. So it was over 100 pieces. At the time, this would have sold for around $129, which at that time in the 19th century was very, very expensive. But today it's increased in value, and it's very, very collectible by both collectors and by decorators alike.
So let me ask you this, Debbie. The plate that I'm holding is the cobalt blue, and it's the most one of the most expensive dining room dinnerware.
Yes.
Now, at this point in time, who might have the complete set or parts? Or I mean, where do you think all these pieces are in the United States, in France, Europe, the marketplace? Where does it go? Where are these pieces?
Well, they were, like I said, they were exported here to the United States of America at 18,000 barrels a month.
Okay. That was exclusive, in other words.
It was exclusive.
To the U.S.
Yes,
okay, I'm sorry.
yes.
Okay.
But there would still be some of those dinnerware sets in France, most likely on the East Coast, most likely in Boston, Philadelphia, or New York.
So people who
very wealthy families.
Very who
wealthy
entertain
families.
Exactly. And I tell you, holding this plate, it seems very durable. I'm not afraid to hold it. It's beautiful, and I'm sure one's meal is very dashing on this plate. So.
Now keep in mind, Limoges is the finest hard-paste porcelain in the world.
Definitely.
And why is that? It's because it does not chip, crack, crackle, or craze like other pieces. And why is that? It's because of the firing process and the glazing process. When this was initially produced in the Limoges region in France, it was a piece of bisque. Then it was fired. Then a glaze was put on top of it, and it was fired again.
I see.
Then we would have the whiteware. So it is very, very durable, but we would have the whiteware. Then it may have been decorated in the studio in Limoges, or it may have been exported here to the United States of America, or it may have been decorated. But I want to show everybody a piece that was produced in the Limoges region in France.
Yes.
And then it was hand-painted in a studio right in the Limoges region of France. And this is all signed by a French factory-listed artist. Now, this is not a piece of dinnerware. This is actually a piece of art. How we can tell that is it has the factory piercings on the back, so this would be known as a plaque. This would be a great investment today because not only is it a French factory-listed artist, but because of the subject matter.
Now,
it's very few and far between where you get a cat and a dog.
It looks like a
little pug.
Isn't that cute?
Isn't that adorable?
That's a beautiful piece, and the colors are very vibrant.
It's really spectacular.
Yes.
And the Wall Street Journal has stated that pieces like this are great investments. And it's because painting on porcelain was not declared a fine art until 1981 by President Jimmy Carter. So there's still a lot of room for investment quality for all of us to invest in a wonderful piece of Limoges. And isn't this a great piece of art to be hanging on your wall?
It really is.
It's actually
gorgeous.
quite charming.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me, and it's a French factory-listed artist.
Yes.
So if this would be on canvas or board, it would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Definitely.
So it's really quite charming. Now keep in mind that this one was produced in the Limoges region in France, and it was decorated in the Limoges region in France. Now, pieces were produced in the Limoges region in France, and they were exported here to the United States of America to a decorating studio. And for example, the Picard factory. The Picard studio here in the Chicago area was in production for almost 80 years. This is a vase that was produced in the Limoges region in France. It has an underglaze factory mark, the mark that identifies the factory that produced it in the Limoges region in France. And then it was imported here to the United States of America to the Picard decorating studio, and it was hand painted by one of their Picard listed artists. Now keep in mind that these artists had worked in the Limoges factories in France, but they had immigrated here to the United States of America, and there was this huge artisans group that were in the Chicago area. So this is actually hand painted by a Picard studio artist. Isn't this beautiful?
May I ask, Picard? Now, who was Picard? What's the last
Picard
artist?
No, Picard is the name of a man who established a studio here in the United States States of America specifically for the blank pieces of porcelain that were coming here to the United States of America, and it was a huge cottage industry. And so there were all these immigrants that had worked in the Limoges factories in France, and they needed a job here in the United States of America.